How's it going, everyone? It's been a week. Lots has happened. We had UK Games Expo in the UK, and it was a Games Expo, and people went, and it was cool. There's been some great Kickstarters. There's been some records broken, and it's Friday. So with Devious Dungeons, Foreboding Forests, and The Coolest Cats, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Dark Orb. Let's kickstart the weekend, shall we? And this week, we're joined with author of WeirdSpace RPG and esteemed friend, Mr. Paul Catt. How you doing?
I'm not too bad. How about yourself this evening?
Yeah, not bad. It's been a long week, and I'm really pleased that it's Friday. With us also is Mr. Shoot, Doug from Victory Condition Gaming. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How you all doing tonight?
Yeah, very good indeed.
Nice.
We've got a sudden special guest. Who have we got? We have got author, lore keeper, is a good way to put it, and master of many things. We've got the one, the only, Mr. Andrew E.C. Gaska.
Thank you.
Although
I must say, I wish I had Paul's accent because it's awesome.
I know.
Yeah.
I sound very uneducated and not very refined compared to Paul.
Well, the irony is that pretty much every English accent that any of my NPCs ever have that isn't my own accent, or like the farmer accent, is basically a northern one. It's never quite as good as Paul's, because Paul's is actually genuine. But it's one of the few stock accents I can do that isn't a complete bastardization.
I thought you were going to say you keep him in a box and open it up so he could play the roles of those characters and then push them
Oh,
back.
I really wish. I really
Only on
wish.
weekends.
If you look at some of the other, like the streams, for example, with Sweden roles, where they actually have voice actors and they talk about having this, this closet of characters, and you can just pull them out and put them on and wear them and hit, sort of become that person. And I'm like, I'm just trying to become me today, dude, and that takes hours.
You have a wardrobe for that too, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's more a kind of drawers, really. Not that kind, Paul, leave it.
You're going to reach in your drawers and pull out an accent. That's up to you.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
None of my business.
Oh, goodness me. So, yeah, I mean, lots has happened this week. I don't even know where to start. I was at UK Games Expo on Friday. That's a good place to start.
When you said that you were going to talk about UK Games Expo, that was one of the reasons why I was like, you know what? Let's see if Drew's available for the show, because Drew actually has some tie into UK Games Expo over this year. So
I don't know what you're referring to.
No, I don't know either.
No, I mean, I'm not aware of anything that Drew has ever done that would possibly have anything to do with UK Games Expo or awards or science fiction or movies, or I don't know.
My career is science fiction. It doesn't.
Yeah. Mr. Gaska, for anyone who somehow doesn't know who you are, would you like to give us a potted history of
Oh, great. Wait, we only have 90. This is a 60-minute show,
history.
right?
By potted history, I don't mean that we need to start looking at the medical marijuana thing, relax and take some time.
When I was a wee lad, no.
Once upon a time.
No, I'm Andrew E.C. Gaska. I am the UK, GE, and any award-winning writer of the Alien role-playing game and Charity of the Gods adventure and Destroy Worlds adventure. All three were award-winners for the past 2 years from them. Not for the Ennies, all three, but UK. I wrote a couple of Planet of the Apes novels. I was the franchise consultant for Fox on Alien, Planet of the Apes, and Predator for several years. I am working as a creative director on a project for Magnetic Press Play, which is a new gaming company. There's a lot of things I don't think that capsulizes it enough, though.
It's just so cool that you're here. And for anyone who wants a really kind of concise way to grab some of Andrew's brain, I guess, there's a great article that's effectively what's canon in the Alien universe. So most of us gamers know you most recently for the Alien role-playing game, and I gotta say, in terms of, oh my god, there's a whole load of stuff that's gone out within the Alien franchises, and some of it is amazing and some of it is crap, and I don't know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
That single sort of blog post document that you put out, which just says, as far as Fox is concerned, this is what actually the Alien franchise is really great for condensing the viewing pleasure to things that are worth paying attention to. So thank you for that. Among other things, sharing your knowledge on things, simple things like that is actually really great.
Thank you. The thing with all that stuff is that even the stuff that isn't the best, there's some nugget in there somewhere. And that's why I came up with that podcast, that the WordPress, what is that? What are those things called? Not podcast.
Blog thingy.
Article?
Blog. That blog. Yeah. That blog post. Thank you. Because I came up with this thing called Barroom Canon, and I discussed it there, which is like, even the worst alien story that you may like something from, it happened, but that version was told in a bar by someone.
I love that idea so much. And that ties in pretty much with some of Paul's stuff in WeirdSpace, that idea that in space everyone can see you get drunk, right?
Oh yes.
so
nothing. We've got entire game systems and entire games one shots where there's just nothing but a pub crawl.
Yeah. So Paul, Drew, as you won't know, Paul wrote WeirdSpace RPG, which was funded on Kickstarter, and one of the defining things in that entire book, which I have right here, and we're actually going to be giving away a copy of the rule book as well, which we're going to announce later on. We've all, I can imagine, at some point drunk a little bit too much, and regretted it the next day.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Or that
apart from Douglas, because he's a family man.
I was never a college kid. Yeah,
no, definitely
not.
not.
College,
no. I mean, that especially that sort of varsity thing. Then you would have had to be into sports, and everyone knows that you're not really into sports either. So there's just no chance.
We can change this to a pro sports podcast if you want, Phil.
We're just gonna have to rename it to Drop Kick Your Weekend or something. But
that's really good.
In this book here, there is a table, and those of us who are role-playing gamers love tables. This table is a D100 by D100 by D100 morning after table, where you can have such results as, I'm just going to find the table now. It might take me a couple of seconds because this conversation wasn't really planned. There we go.
It's 220 something.
It's that one there, look. In fact, I can do this because I have magical powers. Hang on.
You got dice rollers, or is it the other camera you're talking about?
Oh!
It's the other camera. Oh, look at that. Recognize that, Doug?
Yeah, that looks familiar.
Looks familiar, yeah.
So if I zoom in and then make everything bigger, you can see right here.
Yes, the idea is you roll on the first D100 table, then the second, then the third, and it creates this little this situation that you find yourself in when you finally come to.
So, for example, you wake up on a roundabout or on a throne, dressed as a cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
You've lost weight, take 10 minutes off and add it to your strength.
Nice.
You have a prehensile tail. There are some other things here which I'm not reading out, but I'm sure you can spot. It is not the most
PC
work safe.
You have a prehensile tail, or you've lost yours. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So this game is great, but
so was a lot of research done on that, Paul? Did you do a lot of...
Hey,
Funny you
I
should
wouldn't blame
mention
you if you
that.
did. That would.
Funny you should mention that. The first, I'd say, 6 or 7 years of that the book's being in development was during lock-ins at a particular pub, because a friend of mine happened to be the proprietor.
You always got to do your research.
Of course,
Yeah,
But
it's
what is
very
it?
important.
Write what you know.
Yeah. So tell me, how did you delve into the world of Alien then? Well, yeah, I was in space.
You write what you know. There's this thing just bursting out of his chest.
It's a puppet.
Is this a serious question or no?
Sure, why not?
I had long story, but I had managed to get the rights to do a Planet of the Apes novel, and I had done that novel, and they got the attention of Josh Izzo over at Fox, who was the franchise director at the time, and he was great at his job because he didn't just have interns read stuff; he actually read the stuff, because he called me personally and said, "So we're doing this thing on the Planet of the Apes. We're trying to do a hub website. Fox are trying to do this for all their properties before Disney picked them up.
Yeah,
they abandoned it when they realized they were being sold. But he's like, and we realized Planet of the Apes better than we do. So do you want to be our franchise consultant?" And I was like, yeah. So that led to Alien. Working on the Alien Bible. I did the Planet of the Apes Bible. I worked on the Alien Bible, and then they gave me the Predator Bible, and I did that completely because the new movie was coming out for 2018. I don't know what's happening with that Bible at this point. We were hoping that back before it was Disney, we were hoping to get it printed, have it published, but the movie didn't do so well, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. That led me to Alien. But I mean, I've loved Alien since I was a kid, and it was on TV, and my mom had sent me to bed early so I wouldn't watch it, and I came out to go to the bathroom just as the chest burst scene happened. So that's me for life, and that's where we are.
That is amazing.
Nice.
I mean, write what you know, right? You've just demonstrated that. Oh, goodness me. So let's very quickly talk about UK Games Expo. So I was only there for one day. Long story short, because we are moving house. So that's one thing. So that means far less money in my pocket. And I still managed to really, really overspend. I mean, in US dollars, I spent nearly 400 on 3 items. And
that's about right.
And as some of you know, we were in a minor car accident. So a bit of whiplash, and that's still going on. So that's really tough when, as most people know, it's really tough when you also have a day job sat in front of the computer and stuff. So it's been a draining couple of weeks, but I bought, once I was there, some of you might know that friends of mine and I are painting and collecting Corvus Belli Infinity miniatures. One day we might actually get to play. It's kind of a sci-fi skirmish war game thing. Yeah, I know.
Actually play miniatures games? I thought you just collect them and hoard them and pretend that you're going to paint them eventually, but then never do anything with them.
Douglas. We both know that I've been collecting these miniatures for about 3 years, and some of them are painted. I mean, look, I've got some here. This is the current lot.
I love how Phil feels he needs to justify. I do this. I do paint them.
I also have all the rules up here. I've got the previous edition of rules and the current edition of rules. Both are all wrapped.
Nice.
So,
see what I tell you?
Shrink wrap.
The previous edition rules that I got a year before lockdown are still in shrink wrap. So one day we're going to play it. However, I'm moving house, so I got myself one of these. It was a battle foam thingy with a whole load of trays inside it. So that was a lot of money, nearly £100. So about $140 or so, including all the trays inside. Still saved more than 25% compared to retail. So worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean, you save money.
Yeah, save money on the thing that I otherwise wouldn't have bought.
You save money by spending money. Phil, that's how it works. That's what my wife tells me all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Save it.
Yeah, I had to buy it. It was on sale. I saved money.
What do you mean I wouldn't already have wouldn't have bought it otherwise if we hadn't gone there? Andy said, hang on, let me it says so you've been singing the praises of a game to me that is still in shrink wrap. Yeah, the PDF of the rule set is actually free. so I didn't even need to buy those. But they look great on the shelf.
But it was
right?
probably on sale, Phil. So you saved money.
You say that the previous rules that were contemporary at the time, I got for a steal. They were like 25% of retail, and they were still current. So they were a bargain. The fact that they're now worth, actually no, I looked on eBay and they are worth more now than they were at retail before, because they're now out of print, right?
It's an investment.
Yeah, absolutely. If I keep it for another 10 years without opening
eventually
it,
you'll be able to retire with that.
yeah. Eventually, with the retirement age and the way things are going in the UK right now, I'm going to get to retire at about 75, and Paul Cat's going to get to retire when he's over 100. But that's another issue.
With the level of clumsiness in my family, there's no way I'm going to get to retire.
So the other things that
instead of retiring, Paul can just start doing more research on pub crawls.
There you go.
That's a grand idea. I think that's a very grand idea indeed. So the other things that I bought were, and I will just go to a bigger screen, that one. And if we swap over to the other camera, user said and done right now, because my brain's just decided not to work. There we go. Renowned for being one of the best campaigns of all time.
Oh yes, massive. I always mispronounce this.
That's because it's in English, but not. Masks of Nyarlathotep for Call of Cthulhu. Now, you'll all be pleased to know I don't actually own the rules for Call of Cthulhu.
Well,
You don't own the rules?
No.
And you picked up the campaign
Yeah.
because it was on sale, right, Phil?
Well,
So you saved money by buying
slightly
it.
cheaper than buying it from Chaos.
I'm seeing a trend here, Phil.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, they're usually D%, so you could probably just swap out the WeirdSpace one.
This is true, but then I'd have to run with the percentile dice properly.
Yes, as written on page 5.
No, properly, not the Paul rules. The last thing I bought, which I saved money on,
Saved.
Yeah.
is the collector's edition of the Dune RPG in the House Carino colors, because it's the only color one that I like. That was money well saved, because Modiphius wanted £80 for it, so I bought it from Magic Madhouse, which is where I was going to buy it anyway, for the same price as they were selling it at online, which is 64 quid. So still a lot of money. Still saved. That's never going to get opened. I'm just going to wait for Modiphius to have a sale on the retail of the standard edition, and then I'll open that.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's one of those collector's edition things that they're never going to predict. Once that print run is sold out, they're not making any more. So I mean, I totally
exactly.
get the collector mindset of mine definitely can relate to that. But I picked up the same one, to be honest with you, Phil.
This is an absurd question from Andy, because we all know that I don't read. I like them for the pictures. It's the inverse of pornography.
Well, that's a good thing, because that Dune RPG is a beautiful. I don't.
Yeah.
Have any of the panel here seen that Dune RPG?
I've seen the PDF. Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's like the illustrations are amazing. It's as much as I love to tout the fact that Alien, the core rule book, is like this incredible source book, kind of like the way I love the Star Wars RPG backed by West End Games, how that was just this great like source material for that IP back in the 80s. This Dune book is just right up there. I mean, it's got so much like knowledge, so much history, so much like it goes into so many little details, and I'm excited to see what they're going to put out for supplements after this.
Yeah, pretty much my opinion as well, and that's kind of the reason why I bought it. And I do love the Dune IP. Probably not enough to run it, but I'd love to play it. But one of the main artists is Bastien Lecouf-Dehan, who is the same artist that illustrated Cult Divinity Lost. And
that is a very, very pretty book.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So Dune's right on that, probably pretty close to that level.
And he's also he and Julian, I want to say Julian Blondell, that could be wrong because I haven't read it for a while. Wrote Gods, which is up and coming. Absolutely, again, visually stunning. So that was my haul. But talking about things that happened at Games Expo, there was another book that was really interesting, which actually I didn't pick up, about some dudes running around in space with guns, shooting at weird shit.
Is it like a supplement for a game, a really popular RPG that people have been waiting like months for it to finally arrive?
Colonoscopy Maroon or something.
Colonoscopy Maroon? Is that what you just said?
That is an amazing mispronunciation.
That's the British accent of that title.
Colonoscopy Maroon.
Aye.
I mean, to be fair, I mean that's the wrong end.
Nothing like making fun of the title in front of the author.
Hey, we
make sure he wants to come back next time. All I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna put that on my bio.
That almost sounds like a result for like that your doctor would come back. Well,
I'm very sorry to have to advise you this, but it's maroon.
It sounds like it should be on your D100 by D100 by D100 morning after the operation table.
I think you need a sequel book.
I'll add it to the next one. I've come up with an alien wildlife generator.
Yeah.
I'm sure that a maroon colonoscopy could be on there somewhere.
So, alien colonial marines. There was also some awards of some description. I can't remember exactly, but apparently this Destroyer of Worlds thing was quite popular.
Never heard of it.
No. Anyone else? So yeah, congratulations.
Thank you,
Andrew.
Thank you.
It won both awards.
Yeah.
Won the judge's choice and the people's choice.
Yeah, for best campaign?
Best adventure.
Best adventure. Yeah. I know a few people who've kind of gone all the way through it. I haven't. Aliens knock. Oh, that cat always wins.
Distracted.
Yeah, in fact, I'm just going to stop now. I just zoom in.
I can give you some insider information. In the next Alien Adventure, he's in it.
Very cool.
There's a cat involved, and I gave the artist his picture. So.
Oh, awesome!
That's awesome.
Awesome. It better survive.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
please,
you can kill as many NPCs as you want, but cats are sacred.
The only survivor. You know how this works.
If it falls on like any of the other Alien films, who were the only survivors from the first one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ripley and the cat.
Yep.
Yeah, and one could argue Ripley didn't really survive all that well.
Hicks did.
That's the thing with Alien, and you know, originally some people were like, "Well, but you die so easily," and a lot of people love that and embrace it. But it's like I've said from the beginning, it's like even Ripley was on borrowed time. You shouldn't make it more than three movies before she had to be cloned.
Exactly. I mean, I haven't yet gotten Alien to the table for more than a one shot, but those one shots are so hugely memorable.
That's what I love about that game.
Really great for just admit you're gonna die at some point, make the most of it. If you die early, that's fine. We'll find another. It's exactly how I run Mork Borg as well. Mork Borg is, look, just bring an extra character, because that first one, you're gonna like open a door or look at something funny or breathe, and that's gonna be the last thing you do. So just deal with it.
So yeah, no, it's the deaths, it's the agendas, and it's the stress that I think really make it work.
Yeah, agreed.
It's a different tabletop experience than most things. What do you want?
Cat wants attention. That's what
All cats want attention, even if it's that they want to then bite your face off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all distracted by the cat cam now. So yeah, congratulations on that, and of course,
thank you.
Free League. Doug, on behalf of Free League, I think we should congratulate you for Vessen.
Vessen, yeah, they won the was it the People's Choice for best.
They
RPG?
won, dude. you got to say we at this point.
I don't know. I try and like. The team that puts so much effort in these books and everything, like I think they don't get enough credit as it is. So trying to include myself in any aspect of that just feels like, you know, not necessary at all and inappropriate, because I think there's the team behind each line does such a phenomenal job that I'm just there just to say, hey, look at this stuff. It's awesome. Like that's basically my job. And
you are the bard.
I
How do you feel about
will
that?
sing their praises, all day long because A, I get paid to, and B, because I love to. And I'm not going to take any credit for that because Vaesen is a beautiful, beautiful RPG, and I think it's one of their. And I know it just came out like last year, but it's one of their probably the most underrated RPGs that came out last year. I swear to God, like I think if more people actually saw that book and actually physically had it in their hands, more copies would be out.
It's a wonderful, wonderful game. In fact, one of our friends, the GM we had on the actual play we did last night, Cogs, Cakes, and Sword Sticks, which was phenomenal. If you like steampunk, if you like pulpy action, check it out. It's obviously on the YouTube channel. Really great fun. And our GM Stu messaged me this afternoon to say that he was in our local bookshop and he just impulse bought Vaesen. And
nice.
There's nothing impulse about Vaesen. It just means that he bought it too late. Our friend of the show, Bruce Sandro, said, waiting for the Andy's comment on the Judges Award in 3, 2, 1. And within the same minute, I believe some other game won in the same category. Andy's a huge fan of the really wonderful game, The Desanction, which is old history, Elizabethan stuff. And Andy's written for that as well. So he's written some content that's now available.
I was very excited to see them win that award. That was
it's a super
awesome.
fun game. It's really, really great.
I was excited. I tuned in and actually watched the award show live because I wanted to make sure that Drew, he was probably sleeping during the awards, and as soon as any kind of announcement, I could just kind of send it over to him, like, hey, wake up, buddy, it's time to
time to
make some sort of social media post.
Yeah,
but
hopefully next time when whatever the next Alien source book will be, or some other, hopefully, who knows, some other Fox franchise that's tied to it appears on the Free League shelves. Maybe you all can be here. Let's see what happens with the world. It'd be really good.
I just want to say something real quick. Douglas is very he's very demure is the word I'm looking for about this, but
sultry.
But sultry. He's very sultry.
Sultry. What the heck?
But
what is wrong with this panel?
Problem is that we all know you, Doug.
I know.
We're pulling no punches.
He's been a great help, like at conventions and everything, and even just he's helped me with hey, you want to do a signing and you want to do this and blah blah blah, and Doug is really going out of his way. He's become a really good friend in the process. So
Doug is one of the best people in the industry as far as I'm concerned, and we wouldn't be doing this show right now if it wasn't for Doug, because I saw what he was doing and knew that I had to do something better. No,
that's not true.
That's never going to happen.
I mean, well, no, that is probably true that you do it better, but I will say that I appreciate those comments. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you to say. But I think all of us all have a desire to, make this RPG industry better. We all want to promote and, support a lot of the people that we've gotten to know. And so if I've created any kind of, spark or ignited that at all in any of us, then that's a huge honor, right? And I greatly appreciate that. But it's just this RPG community. It's awesome. Like I've worked a corporate job pretty much my entire life. And as soon as I started, once I realized that there was a need for folks for indie RPG content out there in the internet and just in general, like the indie RPG community and just the RPG community in general is just so welcoming. And there's just so many great people, so many great, like brilliant designers, people like Paul, kind of like Andrew, but mostly like Paul, mostly like Paul.
Be like
just,
Paul.
Yes.
you know, they have these ideas in their head, and they're like they want to create games, and they want people to play games most of all, and that's what you want. And like I love that, and if I can encourage someone to pick up a game that somebody designs just because they love to have somebody play it, like what, that's great. Like that's what that's like the best thing in the world.
Does anyone else get the impression that our beloved Doug is actually most definitely the bard of I don't know, role playing, and that therefore we need to rename him by deed poll, so by official channels, to Doug Loot?
I love it. I love it.
It's gonna happen.
Is there a Mr. Loot? A Mr.
Dougalo Loot.
Dougalo.
Dougalo.
All right. Well, it's been a great show, guys. I will see you all.
Oh, we love you, Doug. So that was Games Expo. Actually, from a practicality point of view, it felt very safe. I was really surprised they went.
Were there a lot of people? Was it crowded? Like, were people?
I mean, we were there on the Friday, which is historically like the second busiest day.
Okay.
You get the hardcore gamers go on the Friday, then all the families go on the Saturday because the kids, you know. Actually, it's normally not quite during school holidays, so the families tend to go on the Saturday because the kids are otherwise in school, and then on the Sunday it's pretty quiet. So I think I'm right in saying that when I spoke to John Dodd, who's one of the officials, one of the organizers there, that they had something like 4,000 or so there. It might have been 1,000 plus or minus there. And they were expecting a few more on the Saturday because everyone had kind of posted on social media, hey, it's not that busy. I mean, actually, it was pretty busy, but it wasn't crazy. They'd extended the amount of distance between the aisles for between the tables. Obviously, everyone there is pretty intelligent and clued up and understands the importance of being respectful. So what you found was pretty much every stall had hand sanitizer, and everyone was being respectful with regards to moving around. But once you got to the table, it was just like it always was, So there certainly wasn't 2 meters between you and the person to your left or your right, but there was not necessarily quite so much pushing and shoving. So it was like a weird hybrid, but you had to demonstrate that you were either double vaccinated or had been tested as negative for infection before they'd let you in.
So they
to be honest,
great.
Go on.
It's great.
You could cheat it if you really wanted to. It was quite obvious that someone could, if they really, really wanted to, could actually just spoof that because of the way that they weren't going into too much detail with checking that your, what we call a COVID pass or your papers were genuine. But I think there's an element of trust, and it's kind of impossible to release without going into a lot of kind of technical detail. And as Bruce said, I mean, it was busy, but everyone was pretty much wearing a face covering of some description, and there was plenty of sanitizer. It was good.
I felt expected them.
It was better than we expected as well. Obviously, the only international traders that were there were those that have UK offices or UK representation. So, for example, the Free Ligan stall was manned by our friends Dave and Matthew, and Matthew's son.
Who are these people?
You'd know them. They're on the that show that you have at night where they have like the police officer chasing the vagrants as they like run out of the store, and then they have the guns, and then they have to get in the cars and go after it, and then you end up with those really weird people just basically being knocked down in someone's backyard. Those guys.
Oh, okay.
The backyard owners.
Yeah. The Effect podcast.
Effect podcast. Oh,
yeah. So they did a great job of that. Asmodee were there. Obviously, they're a big international company, and there are a few other large companies, Catan and stuff like that. But the majority was British-based independents and like game stores and that sort of stuff. So there were deals to be had, but not many of them. obviously I would have made a beeline for the Chaosium stall, but there wasn't one. Which is a shame, because I'm really keen to see what happens with Rivers of London, and so anything that might hint to that is really something I want to get involved in. But it was good. Yeah.
UK Games Expo actually posted their attendance for
did
this
they?
year.
Cool.
Yep. I put it in the private chat. It was 10,671 unique attendees, and then 18,430 repeats. So folks would like
that's
multiple
over
day
over the
tickets
3 days. Yeah,
over the 3 days, which is pretty good. I mean, it's
Yeah,
down. It's down. But
is
it's
down.
It's always going to be, though.
it's
Yeah.
still, for everything else that's going on in the world, that's actually pretty decent.
And to be honest with you, the economic decisions that were made over the last couple of years in the UK won't help that either, because it just makes everything more difficult. Even the movement of goods, regardless of the whole COVID thing, Brexit has really had an impact on getting things in and out of the country. It just complicates everything. So I think even once the health pandemic has gotten to a more tolerable and more workable level, I don't think it will quite be the same. In a literal sense, it won't be the same. Doesn't mean we won't have something equivalent, but I think there's going to be a shift in the dynamic. But that's fine.
Talking of conventions, we've got Gen Con in North America coming up as well.
We do.
Yeah.
Wondering if they're going to be using the UK Games Expo as some sort of like a litmus test.
Yes, they're only going to have British vendors.
Yeah, that's the safest way forward. Yeah.
Apart from Asmodee.
See, here in the States, like I don't know where it's like where Drew is, because I think he's a couple time zones away. But like, we're not too bad up here in the Northeast, but like, there's a lot of states that just don't care. Like, especially down south, like, you can have a convention scene, and like, I know a friend that went to a convention last weekend in Chicago, and they had 90,000 attendees. 90,000, and like, there was no social distancing, no masks. Like, they just didn't care. And he said it was just wall to wall, like shoulder to shoulder, just like any other like convention he's ever been to. He's been to this convention 11 years in a row. And he also said he's done more in sales in the first 3 days this year than he has ever done in the 4 days total of any previous year.
So everyone's cooped up at home. You can imagine them wanting to break out and just buy extra stuff.
Everyone's itching to be back to normal, and I think to an extent there is it's a measured sacrifice at this point, isn't it? I mean, Doug, Andrew, are you planning on hitting any of the conventions this year?
Yeah, I'm a guest at Dragon Con on Labor Day weekend. Doug is going to be there with me.
I was going to say, I'm a guest.
You need someone to carry the
DrewCon,
bags, right?
I'm calling it.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Me or
you? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you need someone to carry your bags, right?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to come to the convention if Drew's not there and I get there first. I'm actually going to say I'm Drew Gaska's publicist, and I need to have access to wherever he's going to be, because he has a list of demands that I need to make sure I'm met.
I think the word you're looking for, Doug, is bard. You're Drew's bard.
He's actually a rider.
I had an ex-girlfriend who did stuff like that and got me banned from conventions for a while. So
nice, sweet. I can't wait to carry on that tradition.
So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to recant what her typical outfit was, and we'll make sure that Doug's got
that. I'll send you photos.
Oh my god,
we need the video footage, or it didn't happen.
If anybody manages to get themselves to Gen Con, there should be a fair few WeirdSpace copies there.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. That'd be really good. Hopefully that will sell well.
Fingers crossed.
And we'll get an actual play of WeirdSpace on the channel at some point, and we'll
definitely
try and get a good pass together.
I definitely need to get a copy of WeirdSpace. Is it in retail stores yet, or is it not?
Not as of yet. No, it's I'm still trying to figure out how to get the ISBN number and things like that sorted out, so I can.
We'll get one to you, Drew. We'll work it out.
Awesome.
If you pass me some details, I'll make sure you get a copy.
Really appreciate that. Awesome. Thank you.
If
you have to be prepared.
The box for a TV show or a film or something like that, or an entire franchise, I'm perfectly behind that as well.
Yeah. Do you need a franchise consultant, Paul?
Might do. Doug?
Yeah.
Hey, absolutely. Hey, everybody, I'm Paul's publicist. He's got a list of demands.
I'll let you know what my rider is and what my ex-girlfriends used to wear.
Doug is my. Okay. So now, wait. I'm Paul's franchise consultant, and Doug is Paul's publicist. All right. We need to connect everybody here somehow.
Yeah, we're just yeah.
What does that make me?
No idea.
You don't want to ask. You don't
The
want to know.
archivist. I mean, with all the stuff you got there.
I'll be the talent. It's fine.
Talent.
There you go.
Oh goodness me. We should probably, as we're now 40 minutes in, we should
Jester.
probably.
That's what Joel said.
Jester. We ran a competition 2 weeks ago today
Yes.
to win copies of either the WeirdSpace rulebook, which I have here, in glorious paperback.
And the winner is Andrew E.C. Gaska. Woo! All
And the quick
right.
start.
That was
Now-
easy.
Wow, that
Now,
was.
unfortunately,
What are the odds there?
You brought a cat. What can I say?
winner, just default wins everything. In fact, we had a competition for to win the world, and the winner of that is Andrew E.C. Gaska.
That would be nice.
So we
Only
basically
50 years to get there. So
yeah, but you do actually still have to pay tax on it. I'm sorry to say, and some kind of ground rent.
wait. So does the UK? If I give back the UK, does that cover the taxes?
No, the UK doesn't want the UK.
No, you can keep the UK. It's fine. You can have that one free. So we ran a competition, and that competition was to, in the spirit of the morning after table, to recant to us a story, an anecdote of a time when in a bar or a tavern or some kind of social event, you and your role-playing party basically made a mess.
Did something silly.
Yeah. Now I declared that I wouldn't be choosing the winner, and I believe that the group has come to a decision. Paul, I think the decision that you cast the deciding vote. Let's put it that way. We all voted on it. Do you happen to have that information to hand? Would you like to read the story for the?
Give me a moment. I shall find it on the stream thing there. Where is it?
The winner of the core rulebook.
Right, here we go.
And we'll obviously pop this down in the show notes for people who can't bother to wade through 43 minutes of 3 old and 1 young man talking utter crap.
Right, I'm just going to get the SharePoint thingy back up so I can read the full story out.
Other cloud-based resources are available, unless
God,
Microsoft wants to sponsor me, in which case, yeah, SharePoint, it's the best.
Right then, so I think it was okay. So the quick start, that'll be Joel B.
Oh,
This guy here.
Joel.
Congratulations, Joel.
Nice, Joel. Congratulations.
Am I
you want
allowed to
to-
read out these things?
I think you might need to somewhat
Shall I
edit
tone
it
it
on
down
the
a smidge?
fly,
Yeah. Yeah.
because Doug is sensitive.
That's why I have the earphones on, so then that way they don't. Yeah.
Is that just to protect your precious ears?
Well, I know the kind of
that it?
language that this podcast has, so I was just trying to.
Doug actually does not have ears.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's all right. I've got enough for the pair of us.
That's where my ears went. Damn it.
Yes. We've stolen your language and we've stolen your corn dogs, and now we have stolen your ears.
I did actually spot they're selling corn dogs in Costco in the UK now, and I'm like, I really want to buy them, but I'm fat enough.
It's all right. I've already done the market research for you on that respect. They are lovely.
They're also selling Twinkies, and they are not lovely.
Well, it depends on the Twinkies you get, really.
No, it doesn't.
If you get the banana one, it's just. Ugh.
I don't do bananas at the best of times.
No,
Anyway, let's read the expurgated version of Yoel's real life morning after story.
Right.
It's not
So
really
Joel
morning after;
B,
it's the during.
in his younger years,
Put on your best Swedish accent.
Swedish.
Yeah, Yola's from Sweden.
There is no way I can do that without being horrendously racist, or at least
That's all
sounding
right.
horrendously racist.
All right, just do Geordie then.
That's still going to get me punched.
No, but the Geordie accent is derived from Swedish, so it's close enough. It'll be fine.
Yeah. In our younger years, a friendly, stupidly arrogant said he could drink anything. As we were wimps, we said there were some spirits so foul to drink, he gave him a ferret Bianca. Sorry, no, Fernet Bianca.
Ferret Bianca sounds better.
Yeah.
Fernet Bianca. It was a
Go with
crimson
your-
colon. It's a
I
maroon
think that would give
colon.
you. I think that would give you a maroon colonoscopy.
Yeah.
It might do, yeah. Yeah. So it was given this foul drink with a long straw to make the taste last longer. He gagged, had tears in his eyes, and then ran to the bartender, who gave him another drink. He said, "Don't worry, this will take the taste away." And gave him something that curdled. Rose's Lime and Bailey's.
It's lime cordial and Bailey's, I guess.
Lime cordial and Bailey's. Oh, yeah, that's going to turn it into alcoholic cheese, is that? And not the nice kind of cheese.
Yeah, that's not gonna be good.
It separates because those two just do not mix, and goes with a loving name of, I can't read that out.
The friendly version. I've read it, so you could infer.
Jobby Revenge, shall we say? Let's just call it the Jobby's Revenge.
Howdy.
Or the Cement Mixer. Yeah, that's the nice and even one, which is used as an evil joke by a bartender. And then he claimed he did not chunder, but we all heard him.
That's a pretty ropey story. Congratulations, Joel.
It's the kind of thing
You
that,
you win one of these. We're also going to throw in, because we love our friends and family, so you can have a couple of things from us here at the Dark Orb as well. So we'll send you a sticker. If I just swap over, we'll send you a sticker, and of course, some of our very limited edition
Awesome
Dark Orb dice.
Nice.
Oh, the custom dice.
Yes, we
Very
send you a
nice.
couple of those.
Oof.
And
Should we move on to the main winner?
the winner of the grand prize. Drum roll, please.
I think we chose the Human Simulator.
Oh, that's Bob.
Bob Beaver Bob.
Bob Beaver, yeah,
Whoa.
the co-host of the show that we do on Thursday nights.
Congratulations,
right.
Bob. Congratulations, Joe.
And it's, the Human Simulator is the name of the person, not the story. Could very well be either one there. So
I thought that might be the drink, actually.
The human simulator.
you know what? That's not a bad idea. I could definitely do that. We've got the Jammy Baby. So the Human Simulator's main story-winning story is... I don't get the chance to play often as I'm a perpetual GM, but I do have a favourite bar-related story that I've GM'd. The players owned and operated a bar which had a few mysteries around it. One of those being a creepy doll, which is supposed to lead to a little side quest uncovering the history of the place. If it's removed from the property or destroyed, it reappears after a few days. It has a few phrases that are repeated in a very creepy child voice, as well as an older woman's voice to draw people in. But instead of investigating it, one of my players took great glee in destroying it in various ways every time it reappeared. They made it a morning task to check the bar for it, and then when they found it, they generally just burnt it. They made things up on the fly to hear it cry out. That bar is still haunted to this day. The history has never been uncovered, and the number of bonfires and screams the doll's been in are beyond counting by this point. It's that age-old story, isn't it? We've got a road, a bush, and a huge, intricate castle. Right. I want to investigate the bush. I want to investigate the road. We'll have a word with the goblin behind the bush. And that a castle never gets touched.
That's right.
Sounds about right. Definitely. So congratulations to the Human Simulator for simulating your way into a copy.
For simulating
Probably
your way into our hearts.
Exactly. It's only a model. So we'll send you that and a sticker, not the same one, obviously. You're not going to have some kind of weird time. I'll cut it in half. There we go. And the only Dark Orb dice to have crossed the pond.
he's gonna taunt me with that die, right?
You've got enough.
Just be like, look, I've got a dark orb die. You don't.
Yeah.
No, Bob wouldn't do that. He wouldn't.
Bob would totally do that. He'd just do it really nicely.
He would do it very nicely. He would. He'd be like, Doug, I know you'd really want this, but
I'll sort you out, Doug. Don't worry. So yeah, congratulations, both of you.
Nice.
And I'll get you. I know how to find both of you, so we'll sort out the postage and everything. I'll get it all shipped out this weekend. Should we talk about Kickstarters? We probably should.
Because I think someone here might be tied to a Kickstarter, right?
Really
that would be really kind of like crazy timing if that was true.
And we were talking just before the show, and Doug was like, about Drew's Kickstarter? And I'm like, no. And I'm really up on Kickstarters. It's because somehow I'd completely blanked on the fact that Drew has something to do with this this campaign. Let me just try and align everything.
Have to be quick though.
So
Drew's been chewed on.
There is no Drew. Gosh, I'm fighting with browsers. Sorry.
There's a big difference. If it was his real bites, I'd be howling in pain right now.
Definitely. So we are looking at this right here.
Yes, Carbon Gray.
Carbon Gray, the role-playing game.
Now, I did see this up, but I will confess I haven't spent a lot of time looking at this campaign yet. However, I freaking love Dieselpunk, so I have no excuse for this whatsoever.
Well, I was going to say, you have someone here that can probably pitch the campaign to you to talk you into maybe looking at this campaign a little bit harder.
I mean, he'll probably just subcontract it to his bard, but yeah, that is possible.
Doug, take it away. So Carbon Gray is there's a company called Magnetic Press, and they have just launched a gaming imprint called Magnetic Press Play.
Yeah.
And Carbon Gray is the first role-playing game that's coming out under this banner. We are a licensed partner of West End Games.
That's really cool, by the way.
No, yeah, thank you. No, that's something I campaigned for, and I made sure that we got, because I was like, you know what? Why don't we bring this amazing thing back? It's been around forever in the background, but it's in everybody's hearts. And why don't we just try to give it the push that it deserves to put it in the forefront of everybody's minds again? Because there's so much that comes from that system that applies to modern games now, and people don't even realize that it came from there.
That's true.
Yeah.
So we went back to the just talking about that first. We went back to the classic first edition West End Games system that they used on Star Wars.
Yep.
And we wanted to put some modern new spins on things. So we created something called the Magnetic Variant, which instead of building off the second edition or any other editions that have come since then, it takes from the first edition and then adds some new modernized rules into it. But there's also stuff in there that says, hey, if you're using the classic rules, this used to be called that, blah, blah, blah. So it ties back like that. So it's connected to the classic. Carbon Gray was a comic book series that came out from Image.
Okay, I thought it sounded vaguely familiar.
Yeah, I think a decade ago it did rather well. Beautiful painted art.
Yeah.
Hwang Nguyen is the creator, and it's like an alternate world World War I, where reality is shifting and bending, and there's people that are trying to keep it from falling apart. There's weird things like you'll see something in there like a gun that doesn't make sense for the time period or things like that, and it's because there's shifting things that we call surges and fluxes in the continuity, which bring things from the future or the past into where you are right now, and there are rules for that. So this isn't an actual scenario that happens, but I use this to explain it. Usually it's like if you're in a plane and you're going to crash and you're like, okay, I need to use that wild die to change this outcome, and you use it, it's entirely possible that the engines are going to come back to life and you're going to pull that plane up. It's entirely possible it's just going to crash anyway. It's also possible it might turn into a bicycle instead and you're screwed. So, so it's got some it's got some interesting quirks to it. And it has minis, which I see you're scrolling down towards the minis there now. Yep.
Yeah.
We have minis of 10 of the 24 archetypes that you can play in it.
Okay,
and
cool.
there's some cool bad guy minis in there too. You'll get to them. You can play a sentient wolf.
I mean, that's what I strive to do, just generally, to be honest with you. That's like my life goal. So what you're telling me is that if I buy this, then I can just like retire. And
I guess so.
I was just complaining to Doug earlier on that, my wallet doesn't like him. So what does he do?
I've when I saw this was announced, I think I saw it announced 4 weeks ago at this point that it was coming. I wanted to know more about it. Of course, being the West End game system, it's one of the probably
so cool.
the system that I grew up playing RPGs with. I wasn't a D&D player, so I'm really excited to see more games. I know that there's been some games using the West End D6 system in general, but it's nice to see an IP West End games system be put out. And and then once I read that it was some guy named Drew Gaska that was writing it, and I was just like,
some guy. Yeah.
Like how many books how many RPGs does this guy have to write?
Well,
it's like, is he just trying to write them all at this point? Can he just let other people write RPGs, or does
let's put it this way, okay? Unfortunately, this is an industry, and most this is true for all publishing, okay, where it's really hard to do this for a living.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
So that's why I've got my that's why I'm my thumb in the pie. Is that how you say? I don't know. That's why I'm doing so many of these projects. And it's not that I'm putting my love into all these. I won't let anything go out that doesn't have the same love that you've seen in my other books. But that just means that I'm sleeping 3 hours a night, which is a little bit rough. But but this project, it's that walker mech that you scrolled past. It's 96 millimeters tall, so it's kick-ass, and you can buy
Doug, do you know how big that is? Because it's not in inches.
What is this millimeter thing? I don't know what that is.
Everything I'm thinking of to say is inappropriate, so we're gonna move on.
All right, it was a good show, guys. I'll see you next week.
But the
about 3.5 inches.
Exactly.
It's about 3.5 inches, Doug.
3.5 inches.
3.5 inches. All right.
Yeah.
So it towers over the other minis, and it's a pretty cool design, and
it's a maxi.
So you can buy extras of those if you want to have several. All right, I'm all over the place. The book is a hardcover core book. Okay.
Yep.
It's 224 pages, beautifully illustrated with the paintings and stuff from the artist did originally, and we've got new art in it as well. And then there's the Deluxe Box Set. And the Deluxe Box Set has the core book in it and has 21 minis. 10. I think there's 10 different ones, and then you have a couple of army builders in there that fills it out. Yeah. And it has 2 sets of dice, 5 dice. We call them light dice, and 5 stone dice, and then a wild die for each set. It has 140 cards. I think it's 140 reference cards, which are for so you can have NPC information right away, things like that, and vehicles and whatnot. It has a 24 by 36 map of a mud field with trenches and counter pieces to punch out, which we're going to be showing this stuff over probably by Monday. I think we're going to be showing the punch out parts and whatnot. But you can punch out these counters in hex shapes that will allow you to change the shapes of your trenches, increase the trenches.
There we go. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, and the back of that mud map is a world map of Middle Europa, which is the alternate, Europe that this takes place in, and a game master screen. So it's got a lot of really cool stuff. They were like, you know what, let's go all out on this.
Let's make it right first time and not pulling punches. That's great. I mean, and I like the fact that it's pretty self-contained. You've got add-ons, and some of those add-ons look like they're basically just more of the stuff that you get if you get the box set. I mean, there might be a few extra things there, but it's pretty straightforward. There's a campaign that's pretty straightforward. You just get the book or get all the stuff, and that's what I really like. What I get really wound up when there's a supposed deluxe pledge, and actually that deluxe pledge, you still, by the end of the campaign, doesn't have everything.
Right, and that's something we totally wanted to avoid. We do have extra stuff that gets unlocked. Some of it we haven't announced yet, but there's game stuff that will be unlocked that's going to be coming free. As we reach a certain stretch goal, we're going to say, next is this, that type of thing. And there's other stuff that's going to be added along the way that you can buy additionally.
Yeah, I mean, like these things, like your chibis and stuff, that's not going to be in your big deluxe box, but that's really for collectors. That's not part of the game, really. So I like this. That's very cool.
Yeah, but we didn't want to say we promise this, and if we don't make it, you'll get 10 of this guy instead. We didn't want to do any of that. We wanted to okay, here's the whole set. You guys just order it, it's yours. So and we're going to be doing a couple updates showing the way the box is being packaged, because we actually just got that information in. Because having the hardcover in the box set provides a unique challenge, because apparently the reason why people don't do that normally is it can dent up the box. So the Starry Games is doing our fulfillment production wise. They created a custom tray to show us that's going to be in there to hold the book in place.
Nice.
And then there's a tray that holds all the minis in place and everything. We're going to start showing that stuff. This is our first. I'm creative director of this project and lead writer. I am a freelancer. I'm not tied to Magnetic Press Play, but I say R because I'm invested in this thing. I love it. I've worked really hard on it, and the people I have working under me have done great jobs. This is Magnetic Press Play's first game. If you'll see that, this is their first created project, but they are a subsidiary of Magnetic Press, which has done over 17 successful graphic novel Kickstarters. They have a good place in the comics market, and this is just we can expand this and open it up to gaming as well. There's growing pains because we look like we maybe are out of nowhere, but we're not. We're not.
It's just about establishing the name in this market.
Yeah,
really. And that's really cool. I've been looking. This is genuinely true. And the reality is, we all know I wouldn't get it to the table anytime soon. But I'd been looking for a specifically Dieselpunk game for a while. There was one that was on my shortlist, which I don't really like buying PDFs. I prefer physical media, which I could only find as a print on demand, which I'm not a huge fan of. And yeah, I mean, I think I hate you. Because I'm moving house and I can't afford this.
It's funny you said that, because I was thinking that I hate Doug.
Yeah.
It's okay, Doug. I love you.
Thanks, Paul. I love you too.
Oh, so it's going to be that, huh? It's going to be 2 against 2, is it?
It's a bit like everyone loves
I'm his
Raymond.
publicist
Everyone hates
now,
Doug.
so
yeah, this is true. Bard.
now
so that's super cool. But I'm not going to be happy, Drew, until actually there's a Blade Runner game somewhere here. So I'm just going to.
Are you involved with that as well?
I can't say anything about anything like that. We should move on from that topic. I'm not authorized to talk about things that have nothing to do with.
Drew,
there is no such thing as a Blade Runner
particular conversation line.
But if that ever materializes, then I will, as a what was it, a sentient wolf? As a sentient wolf replicant, I will die. Very happy man. Until then, I'm a mere whatever that wolf was.
You're going to have to be a mere sentient wolf in this game until you can be a sentient wolf replicant in the next one.
Yeah, exactly. Ultimate mashup.
Drew, you said that there's a quick start coming for this, correct? You said that at least last time I think we talked, you said something about a quick start being added to this campaign at some point.
Right. If you see the red button when you scroll down on this now, you can download something that we call Settings Primer, which is just a tease while the quick start was getting finished. The quick start is been delivered, and we are just going through it to make sure that everything is exactly correct. So it's either going to be out. It's either going to be out today, tomorrow, or Monday. But it's in our hands now. So I don't want to say yes. See it out tomorrow. I can tell you, no matter what, it's going to be there Monday. So
it's coming, and when it's out, it's because it's right.
Yeah.
I think you're making it up. I can't see it anyway. There we go.
Yeah, it is.
Cool.
Yep. If you click right underneath that, the little green line, it pops up a thing you can scroll through real quick if you want to.
Sure.
But
I'll bring that up in another window.
Cool.
That looks super cool. As I said, I mean, we did a Cogs, Cakes, and Sword Sticks actual play yesterday. That's steampunk. So if we're gonna like move it forward, then I guess Dieselpunk is next. Actually, what I also want to find is Deco Punk, which is like somewhere between the two, like Art Deco kind of stuff.
Really, I've actually never heard the term before. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's somewhere between the two in that it's that kind of, I guess Snowpiercer is kind of Deco Punk.
Okay.
But more contemporary, obviously. So you have the kind of the sweeping lines of Art Deco and the steam elements of steampunk, but obviously we're going towards electricity and diesel and that sort of stuff. So it's kind of pre-World War One, kind of, but not. I don't know, it's hard to explain. But you get the idea. That's sort of more the 1920s Art Deco feel than the gritty kind of military feel that you can sometimes get in Dieselpunk. But this looks super cool. And we now have...
I should mention the hardcover graphic novel is also
beautiful.
One of the tiers that you can back on this. But this is just a quick look at the universe. This data here, this information here is in the quick start as well, and we will be replacing this document with the quick start link when it's available. But I had this stuff available, and I'm like, let's just give you guys something for now.
Oh, look, she's got a mini. She must be playing the game.
I know. See, that art was done for the comic back 10 years ago, and I looked at that and I was like, this is too meta. What is going on?
I like that a lot. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So that is carbon gray. Pricing is pretty gosh darn reasonable. The omnibus, I believe, that's like your comic book collection, right? So it's your graphic novel collection.
Yeah, it's 300-page hardcover book, and it's been remastered. The story has been it's been rearranged to be I guess more linear in the storytelling, because it was several miniseries that were like, and then we're going to jump back in time and talk about this and then this, and when you put it in omnibus, it's like, well, we're all over the place. So we worked that, did some fine tuning to the story and art, and it was great before, and it's incredible now, the remastered version.
Awesome. I have to check that out. The hardcover, $40.
$40 US, yeah.
It's good value these days. That's pretty good value. Then you've got the omnibus if you're just interested in the comics.
Is it EU friendly? That's what Joel wants.
Is it me friendly?
EU.
That's a very good question. I don't know if you've shored that up yet.
It should say at the bottom, I think.
We shall have a look in a second. The rulebook and the omnibus, £50, $70. And I think there's a point where you just say, do you know what? Just give me everything. So it's $150, or no, it's not. It's $180 for the full box set and the comic book, which you can put on your shelf and then go, I'm going to read that one day. Like the entire contemporary run of Catwoman that I've got, that I haven't even started the first one of. But it'll happen one day. A bit like, everything on this top shelf I've read, but just by sheer kind of luck, I guess. Apart from like most of the Symbaroum books, everything else. Actually, no, it's all rearranged. So Tales from the Loop and half of Symbaroum I've read, and everything else on this shelf is on my shelf of shame. I love myself for shame. Mine. So I guess Carbon Grey, being as it's at sea, would have to go up here, which means I'm going to have to read it, right?
See,
That is,
now I
yeah.
know.
Because this is in alphabetical order.
So have you read Alien as well?
Oh, man.
Man, I've run Alien. Alien is great. Alien was the first convention game I ran.
So it should be a weird space instead of.
Oh, I only got halfway through WeirdSpace. There's a lot of words in WeirdSpace.
It's going to be starring an aardvark in the next book. Yeah.
Odd space.
Aardvark in weird space.
Odd Space is going to be the sequel.
Odd space.
It's going to be like, ultra violent.
It's just going to be called Space.
In space, no one can hear. Right. Let's answer Joel's question. Shipping. We've gone straight past it. Oh, now my mouse has stopped working. There we go. EU, $30. It's not too bad.
Could definitely be worse.
Yeah. I mean, you could have it shipped to the UK, and then UK could ship it out to you for more.
We're shooting for as low as possible as we can get in this, but he put the range there because everything's changing right now. So
Yeah,
it's so impossible to cover.
worldwide shipping right now is ridiculous, and I'm
Yeah, it really is.
I had a graphic. Actually, I think I have it on my phone of the rates of shipping containers within the last 12 months, and they've gone up. I think it's like 12-fold.
it went from $3,000 to $24,000.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Just absolutely crazy. I mean, it's understandable, and it's like silly things like, the containers are just stuck at the wrong port, and you have to kind of get them moved, and they just won't move. And I don't know, it's a lot of fun for a lot of people, but not for us. But do you know what? It does keep people employed because, the world is opening back up again. We're having to move these things around. It's going to get better. It just kind of sucks for now.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking of
Yes.
Speaking of things that don't suck. Let's talk about this.
Forbidden Lands.
Forbidden Lands is my favorite pulp fantasy role-playing game that I've never run. I've played it quite a lot, but I've not run it. It's all here. I've read some of it, not all of it.
You've read some of these.
I've read some of it, and I've played it a heap. Actually, Yoel from the comments, illustrious winner of the Kickstart of WeirdSpace, and I met because we are patrons of the wonderful Sweden Rolls, and at the upper tier of that, Andreas Lundström runs a patron-only, non-recorded Forbidden Lands campaign, which we only get together like once every couple of months. But yeah, that's been a lot of fun, and obviously he's a great guy, Andreas, and an amazing GM, and we're very good at completely derailing whatever it is he has planned. But
that's what
Paul,
like what Paul was saying earlier. You put out this really nice look. You describe this castle, and then you describe the bush and the rock next to it, and people are going to look at the bush and the rock.
We're always going to look at the bush, Doug.
You walk into a tavern. What do you see? You
Bush.
see this guy at the bar who's clearly got the plot for you, and a goblin. He goes, "What's the name of the goblin?"
Bush.
The name of the goblin is Bush. He has no plot or storyline.
Obviously, we're referring to the band Bush.
Which I've seen in person, by the way. Bush, they were an amazing concert.
Amazing band. I would have loved to have seen those guys.
Loved it. I had third row seats. Amazing.
So you couldn't even get the front row.
I was pretty. It was Boston. It was a Boston concert, so that was pretty lucky.
Was this because of one of the people that you knew, because you know everyone, and probably your best friends with the person that runs the arena, and yeah.
Actually, no. I just got. It was just lucky. One of my friends got tickets and asked me if I wanted to go, and I said sure. And I'm like, are they good tickets? He's like, they're third row. I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely going.
You can't even get first row, but I guess I'll come along just to tolerate it. And Bush are an amazing band. But the Book of Beasts, not the Book of Bees, as we discussed. So get it right. Not the Book of Bees, okay? And the Blood March. You had a
two
stream
new
about this,
supplements. What's that?
So you had a stream about this very recently.
We did.
So,
We did one on Wednesday with Matthias Matthias Lilia, Eric Runstrom, and Thomas Harenstam. All three of them came on the Free League YouTube channel, which I'm going to tell folks, if you're watching this right now and you haven't subscribed to the Free League YouTube channel, please do that. We love to. If you're a fan of what we do at Free League, we greatly appreciate. Really appreciate our YouTube community over there.
Can you hear Doug taking credit for Free League now? Yeah.
Well, I will say that, I really greatly. I mean, it's not like I'm taking credit. I know. I am greatly appreciative of Thomas letting me, kind of spearhead that part of the thing for
I'm only teasing you because you were calling Free League Day earlier, and now it's we.
Well, I mean, if they tune in, they're probably going to see my face all the time. So, I apologize for that. But
so for anyone who doesn't know, the core books for Forbidden Lands, for your like £30 box set, they really do look like this. This is the standard edition, and this just rocks my world.
Yeah, they're
That's
beautiful.
The standard edition.
Damn.
And then the campaign books, the source books, etc. Look like that. All my books are falling over now.
Do you have the do you have Bitter Reach? The Bitter Reach book? That's even thicker than the Raven's Purge book.
You're just trying to destroy my shelf.
It's ridiculous. It's
do you want me to take any more off?
Yeah.
There?
Do you have the Alien books up there? Can you show those? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
This is a delicately balanced shelf. You're going to make it fall on him.
Oh, and you can see the
eventually going to collapse. I mean, I should have had him take the ones from the bottom, so then that way it was top heavy, and we just like.
This is anchored to the wall. I'm not that stupid.
Right.
But I do also have Crypt of the Mellified Mage and the Spire of Quetzal.
Nice. The one thing that I really love about Forbidden Lands is the fact that there's like a legacy component with it, because all like the Bitter Reach and then the core box set have hex grid maps with stickers that as you're playing your campaign, you put them down, and once your campaign's all played out, you have a map of Ravenland or the Forbidden Lands that's unique to your group. And I think that's really kind of a neat. We don't really see that in a lot of RPGs, and the map and the stickers are really well done. So I haven't got a chance to run a campaign yet, but my goal is when I get a chance to run a Forbidden Lands campaign, is to frame it afterwards. Frame this map, because that right there, A, it's going to be a great piece of art, and B, you're going to be able to look at that and go like, oh yeah, remember that event where Drew got killed and got smashed over the head with a mallet, and you'd be like, oh yeah, that was so funny. That was he mouthed off to that orc. It was hilarious, and you'll be able to like reference that, and what better thing to have in your gaming room than so I was just giving that as an example, Drew. I don't know.
So two things I want to say about this very quickly. The first is that for the first time you said it, and I was looking over in the other direction, I misheard what you were saying because a book fell over, and I thought you said it comes with a map and strippers, and I'm thinking, man, I've really gotten the wrong edition of this.
No, that's a totally different RPG.
And the second thing is I've got the deluxe cloth maps that you could get as part of the Kickstarter campaign. They're beautiful. And I said this before, they are too large to hang. Like, we have literally gone to some of the picture framing services here and they've said tapestry hangers that we've got in stock are not large enough for this. You're going to need to have a custom frame made. And the cheapest I've been able to find, we're looking at like $500.
Yeah. They're beautiful. I've got both the maps upstairs. Yeah, I still don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I wanted them because I love this. I love this IP in general, and I knew I had to have it. So I'm going to tell folks that if you like cloth maps and you're backing this Kickstarter, back for one of the cloth maps, because after the Kickstarter is over, they don't really have any after that.
Pretty hard to get. Let me see if I can find it on here. I think it's been. Yeah, there we go.
Right there.
They are just stunning, and I think this is a different aspect ratio, so it's not going to be quite so.
Yeah, that picture, that illustration does nothing. Like it doesn't compare to what the actual.
But I think that's smaller. That's basically like a movie poster size. So that's,
I don't know what's that CM. What is that?
Yeah, Paul, please.
Hang on.
I think it's colonoscopy maroon.
Colonoscopy maroon. I love the callbacks to this. This is gonna be. That should be the name of this episode.
I'm going to name a spaceship the colonoscopy maroon.
Absolutely.
It's going to be one of those ships that that you can't possibly win on. You know, the Kobayashi Maru.
The colonoscopy maroon. Yeah, I'm very
Colonoscopy
familiar
Maru,
with
yeah.
I don't believe in the
No one can win.
No, nobody wins with the colonoscopy.
I'm sorry. See, Drew, I told you this would be a great. Come on the show, Drew.
I want to
It'll be a lot of fun.
I want to be on this show more if I can.
Okay, good.
It's an open invite, my friend.
Awesome.
Oh, goodness me. So, yeah. Forbidden Lands. So, it's got an OSR feel. For people who don't know the property, it's got an OSR feel. It's sword and sorcery, really. More sword than sorcery.
Yeah,
It's got hex crawling if you want to use it. The system is it is Year Zero engine, but it has a really different feel to it. I mean, it is closer, I guess, to the Mutant Year Zero.
It definitely is.
But it feels totally different to Vest and totally different to. I mean, nothing feels like Alien. If you played the Alien RPG, that's worlds apart. It's still Year Zero, but the way it works with the stress mechanics, etc., is a completely different Alien. But there is something about Forbidden Lands that I just find deeply fulfilling in the way that it plays, and it supports you being pulpy and fun and just being completely crazy. But at the same time, you get into action, and there you go. You're right into it, just like any of the best kind of or the best action role-playing games. It's really written in such a way that supports that. The Bitter Reach is a setting which takes you out into the frozen north, effectively. So this is very much like the Norse lands, if you like, and the standard original setting in the Ravenlands is more like Europe in a way, I guess, in terms of its just a rolling hills and
you have blood mist.
mountains and
You
stuff.
have blood mist in Europe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Nobody expects it.
Is it like a Spanish Inquisition?
No,
At
nobody
least someone
expects
got
the
it.
Spanish Inquisition.
Fetch the comfy mist.
I love how they're doing these expansions. By the way, I didn't explain that. I didn't mention this on the stream, but I love the fact that they're basically giving us chunks of this world, an expansion at a time. So you have your main. They're basically going to go north, west. I don't know if they're going to go east or south next, but
but they're going to do it. They're just growing the world.
And eventually, that they're going to go like northeast, northwest. They're going to basically you're going to have like a whole bunch of maps all played out eventually. I'm guessing that's what the plan is. But
what I want the set. I can't think of a word. The connector set for the maps, so that you can basically just take all those cloth maps and put them together, and they send someone to basically mount this to your wall. And like with adhesive or something, like a billboard.
You just need some clothespins.
That's a completely different topic. We're not talking about WeirdSpace now.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got confused. Sorry, Paul.
Mental note: when sending a copy, include some clothespins.
You're gonna have WeirdSpace branded clothespins that you're gonna give away.
That's a great idea, man.
With ball closure rings on one end, obviously.
To be fair, a friend of mine has got a bunch of clothes pegs because he uses them for D&D's initiative tracker.
Initiative track, yep.
Yeah.
Being an adult, I've got clothespins as well because we have
I don't want to know, Phil.
We know, Phil.
Thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't do it
Laundry?
myself. Someone else in the house does it. But I'm aware it happens. So yeah, what's great about Forbidden Lands, though, for example, is once you know the system and you've got that in your head, and you've got the like the player's handbook and the GM guide, actually you can kind of choose where you want to start, because you don't have to start with
No, you don't.
like the Raven's Purge, for example, which is the scenario book that comes when you first buy it. It's like the first scenario book that came out. You can go straight in at the Bitter Reach, which is the Frozen North, and get a whole load of world building stuff that only applies to that region, and you don't miss out by starting there.
No,
because it's its own world. It's this whole idea that I've spoken about before in role playing, of the world is happening. All this stuff that's happening in the world that brings all that flavor and richness is going to happen regardless of what the players do within that world. What they choose to do whilst these events are unfolding is their story. But the story is still happening without them. And that's when you have a complex game where you've got politics and factions and all those interplay going on, and you're having to keep track of that. It's about knowing, okay, well, just because my players ignored that thing doesn't mean it didn't happen. In fact, that they chose to ignore it just means that it definitely happens the way that it had been planned out or whatnot. So those consequences for them choosing not to engage still occur. And likewise, you could actually run, for example, the Blood March or the Bitter Reach, knowing full well what happens in Raven's Purge, and put hooks back in and forward if you want to, or change it around where you can, so that the order is not necessarily the same. But these areas are self-contained enough that you can start anywhere and still enjoy them. And let's face it, it's a pretty deadly game, so your characters will never get from one place to the other anyway.
Yeah. I love the modularity of this game, because what they do is, in these campaign books, they give you adventure scenarios and adventure sites where you can play them in any order, and you just plug them into the map wherever you want. There's no set reason, set place that you have to play them. But once you've played all these scenarios out, that gives you an overarching campaign and a storyline, and I think that's really clever and really well done, and I love so then that way you don't have to feel railroaded into okay, I got to do this one, then this one, then this one. Some scenarios that have acts 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Dude.
Drew, would you like a bus there?
But I like
a bus, because I think Doug's trying to throw you under one. So
I'm just trying to get Drew riled up, because that's what I do on whenever.
Well, it's okay. Together. Paul is going to send you a small bus to go.
So a bus, clothespins, a book.
I'll 3D print one.
Yeah, why not?
Sorry, Paul. I'll send
your shipping's going to stop. We're going to now have to keep adding to this list of things that Drew's going to receive, because I just want to see the customs declaration that Paul's going to have to write.
Oh, yeah. No, I tell you right now, if they're like, I owe additional tax, I'm sending it back.
Got a big sticker on the front saying, definitely does not contain bees.
Promise. Nice.
But you're going to put 100%
in not
there,
live bees. Yeah. Please shake vigorously before opening.
So your standard, going back to this, because we are going really quite long.
We told Drew, we might get to 90 minutes. We're already at 90 minutes.
We aim for an hour, but hey, I'm not in any hurry, because it's Friday night.
Yeah, what's that? It's Friday night. I've sold 3 whole books and I've spent all the money on a light bulb.
Nice.
There were references last time in the chat of that Paul was here, that Paul was plunged into eternal darkness.
As the night came on,
yes,
the light from the laptop was the only thing shining.
Damn you, night!
The night is dark and full of toothpaste.
But this Kickstarter, this Forbidden Lands Kickstarter, is doing really, really well. It's actually at a rate a lot higher than Bitter Reach was at this point. So that's not telling folks not to back it, because we definitely wanted to keep that pace going. But I'm just excited to see
the color.
I thought the
color is great.
This was a really clever, and this was actually kind of a last minute. I'll give you some inside information. This cover with for the Book of Bees that everybody's making fun of me on, because last week's episode. This actually
Could have been
has
worse.
what it's going to be more. Yeah, I know.
Definitely does include bees.
It does. Yeah, actually, that's a bee right there on the cover right there.
Yeah.
That's I don't know if you can see it. No.
Luckily, there's no R in the name of this book. Otherwise, that would be something else.
Yeah, it would be. But
Book
I
of
love
bees.
how like there was originally this was going to be an illustrated cover, and I think it's actually in the Kickstarter cover image. It shows it, but they switched it. I think they're still going to do something with the art. They've teased that they're going to do something else with the art, but I like how they changed it to a full leather cover with the gold embossing, like the core rule books, because it is kind of one of those core books you need to run this game. You know, you're going to have your players, you're going to have your player's handbook, you're going to have your GM's guide, and you're going to want the bestiary. Those are the 3 books that you're going to like. Bestiary. You're you know, you're. It's been a great show. We'll see y'all next week.
We have a bee supporter in the comments.
Supportive of bees. Yes.
I see you guys. I see you, chat.
So sorry, Doug, you were talking about the
I just think it was a smart move. It was one of those subtle like marketing moves that because I love marketing, and that's kind of where my mindset is a lot. Yeah. Like it's one of those little subtle genius things that they did. And it was just like when I saw the Kickstarter and it didn't have that illustrated cover like I expected, and it had that cover, it was one of those things that was like, that's really clever. That's smart.
It also tells you where to put it on the shelf, because it doesn't actually fit with the other things. The illustrated covers are your scenarios and your campaign material. This it's your monster codex. It's your monster manual.
Subtle genius is pretty much what I like to call it.
Yeah. So that was your idea.
That's also what I call Drew. Subtle genius.
It's not what he called you.
I know that's not what he calls me.
I don't think I'm subtle, and I don't think I'm a genius.
Hey, there's only one kind of honeybee, but many species of bumblebee. One of them transforms.
There's
till all the way. So a big book is needed. Right, let's go back to talking about this. So the price point for Forbidden Lands always astounds me. It's I mean, the books are small in terms of their footprint, but the quality is way up there. The binding is phenomenal, and I'm still floored by the price of the normal box set. It's like, as I said, you can buy it for £30 in the UK, and it just doesn't seem to add up.
It's one of those. I think it's one of the best values in the RPG market.
Now the price of the dice,
that's a little bias coming from me because I work for the company, but like I truly think that like there's no, you're going to have a hard time finding a better value.
Yeah. I hate the price of the dice. I mean, you don't have to have the dice, but it does help to have the official Forbidden Lands dice. And I do think that, I'm not saying they're overpriced, but they're expensive. Once you buy enough of them, like 2 or 3 packs of the Forbidden Lands dice, which is kind of what you need in order to play a higher level character and not have to re-roll some dice that you've already rolled, that can add up. You can kind of get them on a special, though. You don't have to get them.
The funny thing about the Forbidden Land dice is that's the only freely thing that I bought before I started working on Alien. These dice are cool. I bought them without any context.
They are really nice dice.
I actually really like the Alien dice. As far as D6s go, they're super easy to read, and the stress dice with the face hugger on them when you fail is just, I love that. That's just so good. And so they are, well, some of my go-to D6s, obviously the Dark Orb ones, and actually I've got a bunch of the Victory Condition Gaming dice as well. They're really pretty.
Thank you.
They're some of the prettiest D6s on the planet. It's so pretty that they're in their own special box nowhere near me.
Why don't I get this, Doug?
You don't have VCG D6s? I thought I handed you some at the last convention. I had some with me at PAX Unplugged.
No, I never got any.
Oh. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
We'll sort you out.
I'll
bring them to DragonCon.
Drew, don't worry. I've got contacts. I'll get that sorted out for you.
So basically, you're going to make Paul send it to me?
I was going to say, Paul will send you some.
Yeah. I'll have a word with
He'll be in a
Paul's
bus.
publicist. I love the art in this.
Yeah,
Henrik's
Henrik
art.
does a great job. Like this is
It's something else. It's very different, obviously, from the art that we've had previously. But I don't think that's a bad thing. It's a different artist. But it's still just great. And it sort of paints a picture that you're in a different place because it's still very much in keeping with the original style. And again, I've got the is it here? No, I'll shut up now. I've already packed it up because we're moving. I've got the art book. It was released only in Swedish previously. But yeah, Henrik's art is really, really pretty.
Yeah, he's a great artist, and you know, I get to see some of this. I've actually seen some of the art that they haven't shown yet, and man, I just.
And a lot of this reminds me of Cult in some ways as well. There's that kind of body horror kind of element to it.
Yeah, I saw that image before the Kickstarter. That I forget what that is, but I was just like, oh my god, that's so cool.
It is really, really, really cool. So, prices. Let's have a look. Blood March. That's the scenario campaign book. £25. That's like $40, $34. Then if you want the Book of Bees, same again, $34, £25.
The book, the apiary compendium.
And then you get the double feature, which is a massive reduction at $68.
Yeah, that's a good buy.
$68, £50. Sorry, I keep putting the mouse over that because I'm trying to scroll it down. It's good value, and the stretch goals are always pretty good. And then if you don't have the game already and you want to have the Book of Bees and the so this is what we were saying before, you don't have to have all the books in order to pick it up. You can just grab this setting book and Forbidden Lands, and away you go. That's $92 with a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, the Book of Bees, the Blood March, Forbidden Lands core box.
Yeah, there's a lot of gaming right there that you just. I mean,
that's a year of gaming. Quite easily.
Plus, yeah.
And then if you want everything, £167 basically gets you. Let's just double check here. Yeah, that gets you basically everything that's up here. So all of these there. Don't know, you can't see them very well.
Yeah,
that's a great value. If I do that. So yeah, that's all of those.
Plus the dice, plus the PDFs, plus the maps. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a great
shiny
deal.
box.
Yep.
So
that is a good deal.
Yeah,
it is. It really is. And again, if you like sword and sorcery, it's hard to beat. You know, everyone knows I'm not a huge fan of 5th edition. I just didn't grow up with Dungeons and Dragons, and the gaming that I did, that I grew up, if you like, playing, was more narrative driven and less of what D&D was then. I know that now D&D is more narrative, but when I started role playing in the 90s, it really wasn't. At least not in the groups that I knew. It was very much more still kind of an offshoot of wargaming. And what we were doing was more story-based. And this is actually a really nice balance between the two. You can actually be quite crunchy with your combat if you really want to. You've got the hex crawling, which again enables you to be quite strategic. But yeah, the storytelling there is amazing as well. So you can really make it what you want it to be. I think Forbidden Lands is unparalleled in the pulpy fantasy world. And that's coming from someone who doesn't run it, has played it a lot. It's not my favorite RPG, but it is way up there.
Alien is your favorite RPG, right?
Blade Runner.
There is
I mean, it's Alien in WeirdSpace. Those are like one and like 1A and 1B.
Walian Space.
Walian Space.
Yeah. If I realised that because Drew joining us was a very last minute thing. What Drew doesn't know is I have I have a T-shirt for what was an in-joke for Wayland Yutani. We were talking about Alien. This is where we talk about Alien RPG, actually. And I was using my iPhone. Other mobile phone manufacturers exist. And I typed something about Wayland Yutani. And my phone corrected that to Wetland Titanic.
You got the colonoscopy maroon and the Wetlands Titanic.
So I now have on our Redbubble store we've got some of these. Well, I actually have a T-shirt with Wetland Titanic. I blew up a logo for it and stuff. And if you would like Wetland Titanic or Dark Orb merchandise for that matter, then I'll throw the Redbubble.
I would love Wetland Titanic.
I guess we're gonna have to sort you out.
I will wear that at conventions and confuse the hell out of people.
And it does say building better boats on it.
Oh, I was going to say something about bees, but building better bees or something.
Building better boats. If I was on my other machine, I'd show you the logo, but I don't have that quite to hand. I might be able.
Well, that gives me an idea for another T-shirt you could do. Tyrell Corporation, building better bees.
Covered in bees.
Covered in bees. Like the Eddie Izzard sketch.
Do that a bit.
There
we go. Download.
There it goes. I was like, my spell check didn't understand what I was trying to write when I was writing colonoscopy maroon.
I think it just said Wetland Titanic, right?
Yeah, no.
It was actually saying, "Do you mean Colonial Marines?"
If I just do stop share for a second and share screen, and then I can go to window. There we go.
It's beautiful.
Nice.
It's simple, but it works.
That's awesome.
So Forbidden Lands, because we've done such a great job of not staying on topic at all. the Book of Bees, the Bee March. This is running for a little while longer.
Yeah, I think it's got
19 days.
Let's say 18, but yeah, 19 days. That's good.
Yeah, and how are we doing on the stretch goals? We have still got a bunch locked. And actually, one criticism that I have seen a few different people kind of raise is that it doesn't feel like Free League are maybe being quite as upbeat and communicative in the updates as previously. That's probably just a hugely subjective thing. But
isn't Doug in charge of that?
Yeah.
No.
He's probably Bees, though.
You could say there's just not enough. Is there just not enough buzz around the updates? Is that what you're saying?
Another winner knocked out of the park.
Yeah, that's the one joke. That
maybe we need to have some stingers for headlines subjects.
So you would have said a modified mage. Or I'll never get over Joel's typing.
I don't think it's all sold out. I think
maybe just I don't know. I'm sure it'll appear at some point if it's not on there. 19 days. There's a bunch more to come. The campaign is steaming ahead.
Yep.
I think there's only one other thing that we probably should discuss. I know how it's this stream has been the stream that keeps on giving, and I appreciate that.
I'm kind of curious to see what Drew thinks about this Kickstarter. To be honest with you,
yeah, I'm not. I can imagine that Drew's probably single-handedly bought all of the books for this, and is responsible 100% for the commercial success of this Kickstarter so far. It is holding the, if I'm not very much mistaken, the record for the most funded role-playing game of all time on Kickstarter, beating even the 5e, the 5th edition expansion books like Strongholds, etc., even beating the One Ring, which completely baffles me because the One Ring's quite good.
Yeah, I do. There is a specific audience though for it.
There is, and we know that there are a lot of people who have backed this project never role played before. If you look through the comments, I haven't done this myself, but I have on good faith that a lot of the comments actually are people who don't know RPGs asking things that are really not practical for any campaign. Really, they're just not doable and are very specifically regarding this this IP. And what we're talking about, of course, is the Avatar Legends role-playing game. I mean, look, the numbers just going up. £2.25 million, over $3 million. It's $100 for a set of dice.
Yeah, they've got a really nice
to go on as well.
Yeah, they've got a really fancy set of dice that what is it Leveled Up that's doing? I can't remember who's doing the dice for this.
Recall. I'm just running for that now.
See, I've never really got into Avatar. As I've never really been like, it's never really been something that because it kind of came out after I was
done watching 2005. So it was after I stopped. It was after it was my big reprieve of watching animation. So I watched anime in my early 20s and my late teens, and then I just stopped cold turkey, and I've never really gone back to it.
Paul, are you a fan of Avatar?
To be honest with you, I've never really seen the show, but I've got some friends who are absolutely raving about this thing. It's like, if it comes up in conversation, it's just, oh, you have to watch this. I know it's Nickelodeon, but it hits some real big sort of,
Yeah, the fan base is really rabid.
Themes.
They love certain series more than others, and it's just, like, I don't... You go ahead, Drew.
Oh, I wanted to say something that's sort of related, and I noticed it with Alien, and this is just cementing it in my head with what's going on with this. Licensed games used to be sort of like a cash grab, and nobody ever took them seriously. And then what's happening now, though, is that fans that would never have done anything with gaming are like, oh, this is a beautiful book that has to do the thing I love. And they buy it just as a source book, and just like Star Wars originally. I'm surprised it took this long for everybody else to catch on to that. But these are gateway drugs. Is the best way to say it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how many people have contacted me privately about Alien and said, I never role played, and I always thought it was stupid. And then I saw how beautiful this book was, and I bought it, and it was just staring at me, and so we decided to play it. It's so this Avatar thing is clearly that. And that's awesome, because that's just doing so much for the market, because there's going to be so many new gamers just out of that. And that's beautiful.
Nude gamers?
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Nude gamers.
So, yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of new gamers because of this, which is great.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that this is kind of opening up the doors to a new audience of role players. I love let's just say that Magpie makes great games.
Yeah, seconded.
Say that right. What's that?
I completely agree with you.
They make high quality books. They make great games. They're well done. I've never been a fan of Powered by the Apocalypse.
See, I'm trying really hard to get my brain into that. We made a show at the beginning of the year about resolutions, and mine was to run Cult, which is a PBTA game, and I still haven't done that. Part of that is because I'm just worried about upsetting my friends, even though you have that contract of, what's okay in a game. It's a game for pushing boundaries, and I try and be a nice person, and it's kind of hard to balance that. But the other side is actually PBTA. It's as a GM, it can be quite stressful to run.
Yeah. I've played some really
rather popular though at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It's been
Yeah, but so is vaping, and I don't want to do that either.
True.
I've played some really great PBTA games, and then I've played some games that are just like, I don't really. I mean, it was okay. It didn't really feel like the mechanics were there, but it really didn't capture the theme of the setting and all that. I don't know. Has anybody played? I mean, Phil, you've said you've played some PBTA games. Paul, how about you? Have you played PBTA?
To be honest with you, I've had my nose buried in my own system for the last 18
years.
I mean,
that's fine. I've just never...
I think it's down to your GM, and I think if you have a GM that really gets on well with PBTA, it can be wonderful. But you need to have that brain that can just really do stuff on the fly and be completely narrative driven and not be too tied to your original plans. That's not really me. I'm much more one for mapping things out and maybe not railroading at all, but having a clear understanding of where we're going, at least, even if we don't know the journey. And I don't feel like PBTA always supports that. So I don't know. It's hard to explain.
I just don't know how it's going to work with these powers. Like I know that there's Magpie has put out Mass, which is like a superheroes, powered by the Apocalypse game.
Yeah, good friend of mine, Lloyd Gian from Modiphius. He loves Masks. It's one of his favorite role playing games.
People love it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I'll tell you. I'll be honest. I back this Kickstarter just because I'd rather support.
You love cartoons.
No, I have never watched an Avatar episode in my life. But I do like to read rule sets, and I do like to see how did they incorporate this, and how does this I know that they bend air, and they do all these other different things. Like, so how did they make that feel like it in this rule set? And it's more me just being curious about how they took the system and made it thematic to this world, and me being curious as to that more than anything else. I don't know if I'll ever play it. I will read it. I'll see how they implemented games, and I just love I love rules designs, and if you put out a game that has a pretty cool setting, more than likely I'm going to read it. And I'm going to read your rule book, and I'm going to read your system, how it makes things, because there's some systems that work really well for certain genres, like Alien. I wasn't sure how they were like. Thomas told me that they got picked up the Alien license, and I was like, really? And then he said it was going to be said it was going to be the Year Zero engine, and I'm like, I mean, I didn't say this to his face, but behind the scenes, I was like, how the hell do you make a D6 dice pool system that is super? I mean, yes, the system's brutal, but because at that point, all I had known is pretty much Mutant, and a few other games, but it was just they hadn't really, and I guess there was Coriolis that was out there, but
it's not like any of those games,
right?
If you play those games and you play Alien, it's been heavily tailored.
Right, you made some changes to the system so that it feels like an Alien experience. So how are they going to do that with PBTA and Avatar? That's what I'm curious.
It's the moves, isn't it? And it's getting those moves right. But I think it is really flexible in that regard.
There's something about that. Like, I'll use Alien. I can only speak for Alien. I can't speak for Avatar. But I shopped Alien around as a role-playing game for Fox for 2 years, and every company was like, it's a one-hit thing, it's nothing, we're never going to be able to make it. So everybody was thinking the same things, like when you were like really, but if they have found a way to tap into the core of it, like Freely did, then it's going to be amazing,
right?
Who knows if it will or not, but I'm saying there's people, it's like hold my beer. That's what it comes down to with this stuff. It's like there's ways to do any of these things if someone sits down and thinks it out.
Right.
Will this company do that? I don't know them. I can't speak for them. But
I think that's where you have to understand. It's one of two things. Are you making, in this case, a role-playing game of the cartoon? Or are you making a role-playing game about the world in which the stories of the cartoon exist?
Right.
And it's the same with Alien. Are you making a role-playing game of the movie Alien or one of the other movies? Or are you making a role-playing game about the universe in which the Xenomorph and Wetland Titanic and the Tyrell Corporation all exist?
And about the universe. It 100% has to be about the universe.
Yeah, and that's what Free League and of course you have done really well with the Alien franchise. And I think that there was probably a risk and at least a perception from the other companies that we shopped around to that they were just thinking about it as, oh, we'll make a role-playing game of the film and that's it. And then where can you go from there?
Well,
hang on a minute. What about the people who exist in that world and what they're doing from day to day? And, the fact that meeting the alien, that doesn't really happen until quite a way through the first film. And in your campaign might not happen until the very last game in your campaign. Sorry, Doug.
No, that's all right. The other thing you have to realize is that outside of us in the industry and us in the community, in the RPG community, you say a role-playing game to somebody, you're going to get two reactions. 99% of the time, you're going to get two reactions. You're going to say, "What's a role-playing game?" Because people don't know, or they're going to say, "Oh, Dungeons and Dragons," and they're going to say D20. And you can't make a D20 based alien RPG. There's just no way you could do it. So I think I can see where those barriers of trying to pitch a game to a company that probably isn't familiar with a whole lot of RPGs, and if those are in their immediate response is, "Oh, it's Dungeons and Dragons," or just "What's an RPG," then it's gonna be a tough sell.
Definitely. So Avatar.
Yeah,
my only reason to bringing any of that stuff up was because I think they have an enormous potential here because
they really do.
So many people who would not normally be gaming, and it looks to me like they care about the property. It doesn't look like it's a cash grab at all. It looks really good to me.
This is really pretty as well.
I don't know anything about Avatar either because I never watched it, but it looks like a package that cares, and I might back it myself just because I'm curious to see how it's handled. So
they've got a great group of folks. There's a lot of folks that are behind either writing or designing.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling down
parts
to that,
of this game that
really
I'm a big fan of. So not only that, just Magpie makes great books in general. I've bought quite a few books. I've bought quite a few books of theirs that I have not run, but I just have in my collection just because they're great books. Katie Bullock's there's just so many people, and you scroll up through that list, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 people that I know personally that I knew do great work.
I'm still hung up on this idea that you have role-playing game books that you haven't played or what's that like?
Yeah, I know. It's hard to.
I can't comprehend this. You've got books in your collection that you haven't read.
Yeah. I'm just surprised that you have minis that you haven't painted and you haven't got.
I know. It's just. I know I'm a very rare breed.
What you need to do is get on my level where you've actually created your own mini that you've never played with.
I'm not.
Phil's played with a mini before, by the way.
That's the next Kickstarter book.
That time when I met Doug, no.
But
dressed up like your ex-girlfriend.
I think that this is going to be. It's a great Kickstarter campaign.
It is. I think it's going to be.
As a fan of the RPG community, as someone that plays, that's kind of industry adjacent. I'd probably call myself. This has me very excited for just the industry at large. I just hope, this is just me personally, and I just hope that Magpie doesn't bite off more than they can chew with this campaign and overpromise and underdeliver, and then take all those folks that are new and have this be a bad experience as far as oh, we got delayed on this book. Oh, we got delayed on we promised so much content because of the fact that our Kickstarter was such a success that this 35th Kickstarter stretch goal isn't going to get delivered until year 3 or 4 down the road. And that's personally as far as a Kickstarter bracket, this is not a reflection. I'm not saying that Magpie is going to do this, so please do not roast me in the chat about this. But as a Kickstarter backer, I get worried when I see these ultra successful Kickstarters and then just here's all these stretch goals, and here's all this more content, and maybe Magpie has already factored that into their campaign, and if they have, that's great. But that kind of makes me a little worried as far as, okay, are we almost over promising now?
So
That's I think something that Free League managed to learn pretty well over the last couple of years. They clearly got their, we're going to do this number of stretch goals, and once we get there, we might add one or two things, but that's it.
I'll tell you what, and this is insider information for folks that aren't privy to this knowledge. 99.9% of the time on Kickstarter campaigns, stretch goals are already planned out.
Yeah, and budgeted for.
They're budgeted for. They're already planned out. Like, all they are a vehicle to hype your Kickstarter.
Yep.
And to keep attention onto it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I hope that that's the case with this avatar, and knowing the folks at Magpie Games, it probably is the case, but I really hope that maybe this is folks' entry into RPGs, and or the other thing you have to look at is this folks' first Kickstarter experience too. Yeah. Because you have to think that with this IP, there's going to be a lot more. A lot of these backers are probably new Kickstarter users. So are you A, going to ruin that experience for backing a Kickstarter? And B, are you going to ruin just the fact that they haven't been able to deliver on time for their because they've overpromised too much content?
Yeah, and it's really important to manage those expectations.
It is.
If never been in Kickstarter before, they're not going to know that actually a February 2022 probably means June.
And for all we know, maybe they're ready to hit print on this book and all the supplements. I don't know, and I'm just saying, as somebody that uses Kickstarter a lot, that's what I worry about with some of these ultra successful campaigns.
Well, the two things I would like to say about that is, like, on the reverse side, something that frustrates me a lot, because I do graphic design and stuff for freelance. I worked for Rockstar Games on doing Photoshop for their games and stuff for years, and I work for my friend has a toy company called Chicken Fried Toys. They do these Western figures called Dime Novel Legends, and their Kickstarter, with the COVID and everything, it's like their figures got super delayed, and I'm behind the scenes with this, and I know what's going on, and there's no scam, okay, and they've delivered every time, okay, but people, come on, man, global pandemic. Things are absolutely late. Reality check, it's ridiculous. And he's posting updates all the time and everything he gets from the factory stuff. And still, there's those people who are like, I can't believe this. Where's my stuff, dude?
Yeah, but it's that managing expectations, isn't it? And that's something that Magpie are a great company, and I'm sure that they'll manage to do it. But again, if people haven't used Kickstarter before, they're not going to know that actually when you've got something like this, you're not just getting it all printed at one print house. It's going to be multiple things from multiple places. The dice have been made from China in one factory probably, and the expensive dice are going to be handcrafted and machined. And you have to collate all that in one place, which is quite likely not one place. It's quite likely 4 places, one in each of the territories, and then coordinate all that. And if any one of those items is delayed, you then have to make that strategic decision of, do we drop ship
later?
Do we do we ship it later? Do we hold on to it? Well, actually, if we hold on to it, then everyone will get the things that they need in one go, but we got to then pay storage for all this other stuff. It's a complex business, man. And when you've got 5,000 stretch goals and 90% of them are physical, for example, that's just gonna make it way harder to even just to manage that expectation. So as Doug rightly said, just communicating that is
basically you've got so many different products with this Kickstarter that, like, you delay one item or one person, one plant goes off schedule, you're tying up the rest of the line more than likely. But
and storage and shipping and all those quotes then go out the window and you have to start again.
I'm excited for this Kickstarter. I think it's great for the hobby. It's great for the industry. I'm congratulations, Magpie Games.
Yeah, totally.
Welcome new RPG players to this industry. It's awesome to see you. Please take a look at all the other games that we have as well, because there's some amazing games. There's even this one called Alien that has won a few awards. There's this game called Carbon Gray that's on Kickstarter as well. There's this game called WeirdSpace that this right here is our chance to show other folks that, guess what? The RPG community is awesome. We're friendly. We're accepting. And all other games except for 5e. but it's our chance to bring these games that we love to a whole new audience.
Yeah, and we have to do that right. To coin a lesser known musical artist from probably about 15 years ago, you get one shot. You mess this up. Yeah. You mess this up for that person who's just bought this product, like Alien RPG. You get that product wrong, they'll never come back. Mm-hmm. It'll be that crap on the shelf that they wish they hadn't bought. Get it right, and your friend gets Avatar, and regardless of whether or not it's your thing, you embrace it, you play it with them, and then you say, hey, if you enjoyed that, how about this? And it's something about weird tentacle sex robot aliens in space with a D100 by D100 by D.
Have you been looking through Doug's journals again?
I was going to say, is that colonoscopy maroon?
Colonoscopy maroon.
The new spaceship, Sourcebook, and apparently now space brothel.
Oh yeah.
The next WeirdSpace supplement. Can't wait.
So I'll say this, like with the Carbon Gray thing, we mapped everything out. So it's like that's one of the reasons why all the minis and stuff and everything are included from the beginning with that box set. Okay. The stretch goals we have, right? They're planned to come out. The question is when they come out depends on if they get activated by this or if they're pushed back later in the thing. Some of them are already partially done or mostly done, or because when we started doing this as a line is when we figured it out. Okay. So like those extra things that you haven't seen yet that we would get to originally, we've saying in the thing they're going to ship later. But they're not like, oh, we should make this up now and try and figure this out. We've worked all this out. So who knows what's going on over there. But I'm hoping that that's the same thing. I'm hoping they thought, okay, we have potential for success here. If we have success, can we plan this out? Can we get these things started to see if we're going to, where we're going to go with it? And that's one of the things I pushed for with the Carbon Gray thing, because I was like, I don't want the situation that Doug is describing at all. And we're like, we'll do this because it's kind of cool, right, guys? What are we doing?
Yeah,
I don't want that.
So, hey, what if we built a giant wooden badger?
You're totally right, Doug. There's a balance. The audience needs to understand how these things work and how long they take, and also the companies need to stop. Or not even saying that they're doing it, but companies need to be careful about what they're planning and not overstepping. And we know that some companies have along the way.
I think all of them done it. I mean, even things like Free League, we're still waiting for the Coriolis cookbook. I mean, crikey, I'll write it myself.
I'm unaware there was a cookbook as part of a thing.
Yeah, there was supposed to be, and it just never happened.
It's one of those things that when we do our Free League update every month, it seems like everybody asks the status on the. It's been like the running joke for the last year almost that hey, what's the status on the Coriolis?
The Coriolis cookbook.
Yeah.
Well, until they get that, there's a recipe for cornbread in the
I saw that.
Maroon book.
I'm not sure I want that cornbread.
You don't want anything that's been served out of a.
It's a colonoscopy
maroon cookbook.
For those just tuning in, it's the Colonial Marines Operations Manual as the cornbread recipe.
Is it though, Drew? Is it?
But there was a colonoscopy, and then there was corn. No, just stop now. Time out. So.
Oh dear.
Go ahead.
Avatar Legends role-playing game.
looks great.
I'm just going to say right now, the very top tier, I'm a collector, I love Avatar. It's got 5,848 backers, is £144, $200. Let's just run through very quickly and see. So the one that's just the core book and the stretch goal actually has more. I'm kind of surprised about that, but I guess the price difference is enormous.
Substantial, yeah. It's
Yeah,
substantial.
so it's like, yeah, it's basically, hang on, my brain has just turned itself off. $200 for everything. Then you're looking at that one there is the next one down. The special cover, that's half the price at $100, £75, £72. It looks like Otto Penguin is the base one, the standard core book with all the stretch goals. Now, I'm going to say this right now. You can normally buy the standard core book way cheaper after release. So
well, that's one of the things with Kickstarters. You're not actually buying a finished product. You're helping to produce the thing.
No, absolutely. But this is where if you can afford it, I would recommend getting the collector's edition and then picking up the standard book at retail.
So here's an interesting thing that they did with this Kickstarter that I hadn't seen anywhere else. I don't think I've ever seen this with a Kickstarter before, where the retailer pledge, if you're a retailer, if you're watching this right now and you're a retailer and you want to pledge for this to bring stock of this into your store, you can pledge this Kickstarter, but all you're going to be getting is the stretch goals.
Yeah.
You're not going to be getting the core rule books. They want you to order the core rule books through distribution, which is either there's something in place that they have some sort of agreement where they can't sell directly to brick and mortar stores, which might be a stipulation with the license, or they're just trying to do something, to bypass some of the shipping or, the shipping costs because of the way the shipping is going on. It's very strange. And I know a lot of stores that I'm friends with are kind of leery on doing that because they don't know if they'll be able to get in enough of the core rule books to go along with the stretch goals that they pledge for. So because a lot of these RPG books surprisingly have smaller print runs. Granted, this one's going to have probably a larger print run just because of the amount of backers that it has. But how much of that print run is going to be increased to go to distribution? Is the demand for pre-sales at retail going to outweigh, and are they going to get, what do they call that, allocated their shipments because they don't have enough in that initial shipment? Our retailers are going to get stuck with, I've got 5 sets of these stretch goals, but I was only able to get 2 of the core rule books from distribution because of the allocation, because that happens a lot.
It really does.
I don't know if you folks are aware, but there's it happens with Magic the Gathering, it happens with Games Workshop, it happens all the time with the retail, especially with RPG books.
I think with Alien, the core books sold out everywhere, and we had no core books, and that's one of the reasons why we did the starter set was while more core books were being made.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think there's the other side of it, which is that this is a trendsetter. We've got people who are jumping onto this who've never kickstarted before, and I'm really curious to know if that's going to end up with market saturation for the rulebook. I really, at least to begin with, I think it's a risk that even if you can get the rulebook, the people who really want it this time around may already have it.
I think that there's enough folks that don't do Kickstarter and don't want their money tied up for X amount of months that they'll wait and get it. I mean, we're not gonna. I don't think that the One Ring RPG, when Free League puts that out, is not gonna fly off shelves.
I still haven't pre-ordered that.
I think that there's certain IPs that are strong enough where you're always gonna get a certain percentage on Kickstarter, but you're not gonna get the majority.
Yeah.
How well with Alien? Like, they didn't do the Kickstarter with Alien.
Right, they did a pre-sale.
They did a pre-sale, and we did great on the pre-sale. But then immediately, the day that the books went to the store, they were sold out that day.
They flew off. They flew off the stalls. That I think we launched it in the UK at Dragon Meet, and it just sold out that morning.
The question is, are orders being adjusted to match what's going on with this? How do they have that in the distribution setup? Are they able to say, boom, We need 300,000 more of this. You know.
I don't know, and maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're using it as like a count to see how much they need to go over. For distribution.
That's actually really wise. You know, if you know that every single retailer has bought 10, then you know that you're going to need to manufacture more than that.
Then you know that no matter what your print run is, it's going to distribution, X amount is going to go towards, more than likely
every one of those stores is going to order that number of core books at a minimum. So you're going to need to take that and then add some overage onto it. So actually, for capacity planning, that's really clever.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that's how they intended it or not, but that's a really smart way to do it if that's what they did. And yes, it is weird and it's odd, but maybe this is going to be the new norm. And
we like weird and odd.
This is definitely something we should watch to see how this plays out, because this might be a new dynamic, and that would be amazing if it was.
Absolutely. The best thing about Kickstarter is it changes after a while. You see trends, you see things it's like just like any other industry. It's just like any other market. You can't stay the same all the time. You have to adapt. You have to change. You have to figure out, what do I need to do next to get that next leg up, and how do I improve, and how, and this might be one of it.
But my rights. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My friends, it's been over 2 hours.
Yeah, this is
been a
Drew. I hope this
is
90 minutes. I apologize for.
Well, that's the thing, is that we like to be understated and not brag, but we've got some staying power, the four of us. We've done all right. We've done all right. The stamina is right there. Doug, Drew, Paul, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's probably a good time to wrap up. Paul, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter with the @WeirdSpace RPG handle. You can find the game on. Yes, the light bulb has held out there. You can find me on Facebook. If you've got one of the books, chances are you've already got the Linktree address as well, which is linktr.ee/WeirdSpace RPG as well.
Cool. And Doug, where can people find you?
You can find me just basically Google Victory Condition Gaming.
Just Google Doug.
Yeah, just or if you'd like to subscribe to the YouTube channel, we'd love to have you on there as well. But yeah, on Facebook, Instagram. I'm at Doug VC Gaming on Twitter, because somebody took VC Gaming on Twitter from me, and I'm kind of still bitter after like 6-7 years of that.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to see me and Drew at DragonCon over Labor Day weekend.
Yes.
So make sure to if you're in Atlanta, Georgia, and you're going to DragonCon, make sure you swing by, and you'll be able to pick up a copy of the Colonoscopy Maroon from the table, and maybe Drew will sign your Colonoscopy Maroon.
I'll sign your colonoscopy report.
Yeah,
I need that. I don't have a copy of it yet, so I'm going to need to sort that out. Drew, thank you for joining us. Where can people find you?
I'm very active on Facebook. Andrew E. Gaska. It doesn't have the C in it. The C is my with cat. The C is my author page. But
C's for cat.
Which is something I need to drive people to my author page instead. But everybody wants to talk to me on my personal thing. So Andrew E. Gaska. When you go there, I will answer questions. I like to interact with the community. I'm also often in the Free League Alien RPG group. Answering questions for anybody who has them there. You can find the Kickstarter for Carbon Gray. You can look it up on Kickstarter, or you can go to carbon-gray.com, and it'll take you there. It's gray with an E. So carbon-gray with an E.
That's the way it's supposed to be spelled.
Yeah, well, that's what I think too. And yeah, I think I covered everything. Oh, on my blog post where the things like the alien canon that we were discussing earlier can be found is roguereviewer.wordpress.com.
Isn't alien canon like a t-shirt canon? That's what people are, right? Alien canon.
People. I mean, I guess you can put trust bursters in one of those and shit.
Yeah. Was William Hurt an alien canon? Food for thought. Guys, thank you so much for joining. You're all welcome anytime. We're trying to do this show more regularly, so gives you an idea. We've managed to do this pretty much every week for the last 3-4 weeks, so hopefully it will continue for a little while longer before we lose internet as I move house. We'll work it out. The place where I'm going to has actual cell phone signal, which is something that I'm not quite used to. At the moment, I can only get cell phone signal if I step 1 foot outside of my front or back door.
Have you tried wearing a tinfoil cap when you do it?
I mean, I do that generally. I mean, just, you know.
I'm thinking maybe it's the hat that interferes with the signal.
I was really hoping
you just pull
the hat off and actually have a little
Oh, that would have been awesome.
I'll remember that for next time. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much to those who've watched. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll be back hopefully next week, if not very, very soon. So yeah, thank you everyone, and may your dice rolls be infinitely better than mine. Take care, everyone.